Hello everyone, this is Cyclone here back with another video. It is 2:47 p.m. Eastern Time, June 13th, 2023. And in this video, I'm just going to give you guys a quick update on the Tropics. I'm trying to make this video quick right over here. And if you want to see more updates regarding if there's any tropical developments expected to develop or if there's any tropical developments at all, please subscribe to my channel. This is Cyclone here. And I will give you guys the daily updates that are in this El Nino hurricane season this year. And please subscribe to my channel. Turn those post notifications on. That will really help me a lot and help you a lot also. And let's get right into the video. So this is from the National Hurricane Center. As you can see, there's no tropical developments expected for the next 48 hours in the Gulf of Mexico, in the Western Caribbean right over here. In the Atlantic wide, we do not see any developments expected for the next 48 hours. But in the Eastern Pacific, we could see some development in the Eastern Pacific within the next couple days, but the chances are very, very low. There's an area of disturbed weather is located south of the coast of southwestern Mexico. So development of this system is possible over the next few days while it moves west northwest at around 10 to 15 miles per hour by early next week. Conditions are to become unfavorable due to that wind shear right over here as it moves into that wind shear. You can see the track right over here, this 7-day forecast. We do have two areas the National Hurricane Center is watching. One right here that I was talking about right over here. Yesterday, if you watched my previous video, I was talking about this system right over here developing. You can see it still has a 20% chance of developing in the next 7 days, but this system right over here has a 10% chance in the next of developing within the next 48 hours and a 20% chance within developing in the next 7 days. So these two systems right over here, these two tropical disturbances right over here, could develop at the same time. This could develop more sooner than that one due to the high percent chance of developing, as you can see right over here. But these do develop. I'll be keeping you guys updated in the 7-day forecast in the Atlantic. We do not expect anything to develop due to that. It's very dry air in the Eastern Atlantic right over here, and that wind shear is very, very strong within the Gulf of Mexico, Western Caribbean, and near the main development region. So we do not expect anything to develop. In Central Pacific, as always, we do not expect anything to develop within the next 7 days, as you can see right over here. If you look at the forecast map from the National Weather Service, we do have 4 to 5 tropical waves. We got a couple tropical waves that just emerged off the western coast of Africa right over here. We do have some tropical waves bringing some shower and thunderstorm activity near Colombia, Venezuela, just the northern tip of South America. We do have some tropical wave right over here near Central America, moving west into the Eastern Pacific, and we do have that tropical wave right over here, that strong tropical wave in the Eastern Pacific that the National Hurricane Center is watching, as you can see right over here. So this is the forecast map. We do have a couple tropical waves. These tropical waves do not expect, or I am not expected to develop, nor does the National Hurricane Center expect to develop due to, that dry air and that wind shear in the Atlantic right now. So this is the forecast map from the National Weather Service. You can see the satellite imagery. This is from the Eastern Pacific where those two disturbances are. But you can see this is where it's expected to develop off. This disturbance right over here moving northwest, as you can see, and it's going to be encountering that strong wind shear that is moving just north of this disturbance right over here, moving into the Gulf of Mexico. That wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean right over here is that could rip this tropical wave apart. That's why the National Hurricane Center is saying that it's unfavorable for it to develop, is going to be moving into some unfavorable environment due to tropical disturbance number one. So this disturbance right over here, the National Hurricane Center is watching. It is kind of too soon to say this will develop. The chances, like I said, are very, very low, 20% chance within the next 7 days. But I'll be keep you guys updated on this system if it does develop. So I'll keep you guys updated. If you look at the Atlantic wide, the satellite imagery, the Atlantic wide, you can see looks very, very dry. Nothing really impressive in the Atlantic right over here. Wait for this to load right over here. But nothing really impressive I could see right over here. The high pressure right over here, right in the center of the Atlantic right over here. That's going to be steering these tropical waves kind of west right over here. You can see that dust moving emerging off the western coast of Africa, moving throughout where that high pressure system is, giving some very dry air right over here, just north of these tropical waves right over here, and keeping the Puerto Rico, Haiti, Dominican Republic, very, very quiet. We do have some spotty shower and thunderstorm activity for the Leeward Islands, but that's about it. As you can see right over here, we can see some very, very strong thunderstorm, disorganized thunderstorm, shower and thunderstorm activity right over the Central American region, moving into the Eastern Pacific. So we could see those develop within the next 7 days. It's kind of too soon to say they are going to develop. We just got to keep watching. And as you can see, those tropical waves that are we do have a couple tropical waves right over here in the northern tip near Venezuela, Colombia, right over here, bringing some shower and thunderstorm activity for the northern tip, all the northern tip of South America right over here. We're going to keep a close eye on that. So this is the radar uh, imagery from the tropicaltidbits.com. You can see the tropical wave. We have another tropical wave emerging off the western tip of Africa. We keep you guys updated. You can see the Atlantic. It looks pretty quiet right over here. You can see very, very quiet. The only area where I'm going to be watching as of right now is the Eastern Pacific, where we have two areas that could develop within the next 7 days or so. Look at the weathernurse.com. This is another satellite imagery from the Eastern Pacific. You do have that tropical wave, really, very, very strong disorganized shower and thunderstorms right over here where this tropical wave disturbance, I should say, from the National Hurricane Center. This is the area the National Hurricane Center is watching. It is expected to move northwest at around 5 to 5, 10, 15 miles per hour, as you can see right over here. And it's going to be encountering some wind shear as it keeps moving west. And that's just going to keep rip this storm of these tropical waves apart, as you can see right over here. That's why the environment is unfavorable. It's going to be unfavorable as these tropical waves move northwest into that wind shear in the next couple days. You can see there's more action in the Eastern Pacific than in the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean, and the main development region, as you can see right over here. And that is because that is a lot of wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico. You can see there's no shower and thunderstorm activity, barely any in the Gulf of Mexico. That's because of that dry air and wind shear in the Caribbean and Atlantic, and you have a high pressure system in the Atlantic that's going to keep tropical developments at bay if it any does develop, as you can see. But where these tropical waves are right now, they're just dealing with some very, very warm ocean temps, and that's going to fuel up these tropical waves and become a system later in the future. And they're not really dealing with any dry air or wind shear. Most of the wind shear is kind of north of these tropical waves right over here. So I'll be keeping you guys updated, as you can see right over here. And if you look at the another satellite imagery, you can see another tropical wave emerging off the western tip of Africa, as you can see right over here, and it's expected to move west. And we do have some tropical waves affecting, Venezuela, Colombia, the northern tip of South America, bringing some heavy shower and thunderstorm activity, some rain totals. I'll show you guys that later in the video. And we do have some area of disorganized thunderstorms in Central America. And also those shower and thunderstorms are moving into the Eastern Pacific. And I'll be watching the Eastern Pacific as of right now, just because of those two disturbances that the National Hurricane Center has just put out. So yeah, I'll be watching that. This is this RGS visible satellite imagery right over here. You can see the those tropical waves moving through the Eastern Pacific. This is the area the National Hurricane Center is watching, moving northwest. I'll be keeping you a good eye on that system right over here. And if this does develop, I'll be the first to let you guys know. I'll try to be the first at least. And you can see that we could have another area of shower and thunderstorm activity. We've just emerged off the Central American coast, Western Central American coastline, and moving into the Eastern Pacific, where things are favorable for the development to are favorable for a development in the Eastern Pacific than in the Gulf of Mexico, Western Caribbean, or the Atlantic, as you can see right over here. So we look at the GFS model. You can see those tropical waves bringing some rain throughout the northern tip of South America, bringing some rain throughout the main development region. As you can see, we do have a high pressure system just southeast of Bermuda, right over here. The Bermuda sits right over here. The high pressure system right around here, and that's where all that dust is and that dry air is. You can see you have dealing with a lot of dry air in the Gulf of Mexico. That's why you don't see any development within the Gulf of Mexico, as you can see right over here. As we keep this going, this is June 17th. We do have to see them tropical waves still emerging off the western coast of Africa. This is June 19th. You can see as we keep this going, and this is way too far out. Just June 22nd, as it is about 1 to 2 weeks later, we can still see some low pressure system. We have one low pressure system right in South America, Central America. We could have another low pressure system in the Eastern Pacific moving west. As you can see right over here, we do have another low pressure system that could affect Cuba and Florida, bringing some heavy rain as it moves northeast throughout the Gulf of Mexico, emerging off from the Western Caribbean right over here. But it is way too far out, and the GFS model has been playing with this system. It was supposed to be an even stronger system a couple of days ago, as you can see, but then the GFS model has put out an even weaker system, maybe a high-end tropical depression, a low-end tropical storm, maybe tropical storms, maybe Cindy or Brett right over here. Brett was probably right here. This could probably be Brett right over here. This is before that system even came about, as you can see right over here. But that is expected to move into the Eastern Pacific. That could become another name, maybe Adrian or something. But as the GFS model go on, you can see some heavy rain totals for the Florida Peninsula moving up Georgia and the Carolinas on June 23rd to June 26th, as you can see, and that's kind of out of here, bringing some rain throughout the eastern coast of the United States. But I don't really expect this to happen. The GFS model has been playing with the system, pushing it farther out, farther into the future. I don't know why, but the GFS model has been playing with this system right over here. And if this does happen, I'll keep you guys updated right over here. But that's about it from the Atlantic. As you can see, we look at the Eastern Pacific. The Eastern Pacific is quite more active, as you can see, due to those very, very warm ocean temps and the less wind shear. As you can see right over here, we could see one system right over here, June 16th, Friday, a couple of days later. As you can see right here, kind of brief, as you can see right over here, kind of dissipating right now. And you can see another system right over here. If you go back a little, we can see another system, a couple names that could develop. One to three names could develop in the Eastern Pacific in 1 week. So GFS model is picking up a couple systems right over here. We have another system, a third system that could develop, low pressure system that could develop within the Eastern Pacific. This is as of June 23rd. It is way too far out to say this can develop, but the only system the National Hurricane Center is watching is this one right over here. This system could develop. It could have our first tropical storm right over here in the Eastern Pacific. If this does develop, it would be Tropical Storm Adrian or Hurricane Adrian. Things could change, as you can see right over here. But um, I do expect a higher chance of developing a development within the Eastern Pacific than the Gulf of Mexico, Western Caribbean, or the Atlantic, and that is because there's less wind shear in the Eastern Pacific, there's less dry air, and there's warmer ocean temps in the Eastern Pacific. Not saying that the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean, and the Atlantic is dealing with some cooler ocean temps. I'm just saying like this is way too much dry air, and the wind shear is just way too strong. So as you can see, the GFS model is picking up a couple systems to move throughout the Eastern Pacific and dissipate. They do look like very weak and very short-lived, as you can see, whatever, none too strong, as you can see. And if you look at the European model from the National Hurricane Center, tropicaltidbits.com, you can see it's kind of saying the same thing, but not really picking up a system, not really stretching out that far, as you can see right over here. We do have some tropical waves moving off the western tip of Africa, bringing some heavy rain to South America, and we do bring some tropical waves right over here for Central America, bringing heavy rain for Central America right over here. We do have a big blob of heavy moisture in the Eastern Pacific. That's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying there could be a system in the Eastern Pacific before we have another system in the Gulf of Mexico, Western Caribbean, or the Atlantic, as you can see right over here. So nothing really major or surprising from the European model in the as of the Atlantic wide. But as you look at the Eastern Pacific right over here, for the European model, because the Eastern European model is picking up one system that could develop on June 15th and June 18th, right over here, June 14th, 15th, 16th. Right over here, June 15th, right over here, we could see one system develop. Very, very weak, short lived system. The European model is picking up within the Gulf of Mexico. So the GFS model and the European model has one thing in agreement as it comes down to the Eastern Pacific. We could see one system develop within the Eastern Pacific, but that's about it though. The European model is not really picking up on any of the other systems as of right now. The European model doesn't even stretch out only to June 17th. So that's about it. As you can see right over here, the only area I'm watching right now is the Eastern Pacific. The Atlantic looks pretty quiet. As you can see, that wind shear and dry air stretching from western tip of Africa to all the way to the Gulf of Mexico is keeping things calm in that bay, and keeping developments from even developing uh, within even 2 days. As you can see right over here, that dry air and uh, strong wind shear. If you look at the dry air, this is from tropics.ssec.wisc.edu. This is the forecast model the tropical from this website right over here. We can see that's not forecast model, but this is that dust. As you can see, that all that dust that emerged off the western tip of Africa already stretched out, moving into the Western Caribbean right over here. You can see we do have a lot of dry air right over here in the Gulf of Mexico. That's why you don't see anything, developing within the Gulf of Mexico as of right now. No shower and thunderstorm activity, nothing developing in the Gulf of Mexico. And that wind shear, those two add together, nothing really expected to develop right over here. That wind shear is just way too strong in the Gulf of Mexico. It's kind of moving east, no, west to east right over here throughout the Gulf of Mexico, stretching all the way down into the Western Caribbean right over here. We do have dealing with some strong winds here, but that dust with that high pressure system is just keeping everything at bay. As you can see, these tropical waves are just staying to the south of that strong dust, as you can see right over here. If it wasn't for that area where there's no dust, where those tropical waves are, we wouldn't see any tropical waves right over here developing due to that dust. Tropical waves and tropical cyclones, they need moist air. There's just a lot of dry air and heavy, strong wind shear within the Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean as of right now, as you can see. And that wind shear, this is the United States, this is the Gulf of Mexico, this is the Western Caribbean. That wind shear is strong, as you can see. That wind shear kind of moved from the Eastern Pacific and then stretching all the way out into the eastern coast of the United States right over here. And that wind shear is very, very strong. You see most of the Gulf of Mexico dealing with some strong wind shear. That's going to keep developments or tropical systems from developing with the Gulf of Mexico as of right now. As you can see right around now, the wind shear is very, very strong. We do have some strong wind shear just right over here near the western tip of Africa, right over here. Yeah, that's just what these tropical waves are dealing with: some wind shear and dry air, as you can see right over here. This is the northern tip of South America right over here, Venezuela, Colombia. They're not really dealing with a lot of wind shear. That's why these tropical waves are bringing a lot of rain for this region right over here. But the wind shear is just kind of north of it. You can see this is the Eastern Pacific. The wind shear is kind of north of these tropical waves. It's tropical disturbance. The National Hurricane Center is watching, as you can see right over here. I'll give you a closer look at the wind shear. But the Eastern Pacific is dealing with some wind shear, but just north of these tropical disturbances right over here. And as we look at the wind shear, let's take a look at the wind shear right now. The wind shear, where these tropical disturbances are, most of the wind shear is kind of north of these tropical disturbances. The tropical disturbances, like right here, dealing with little wind shear. And as days go on, you see that tropical disturbance right over here that the National Hurricane Center is watching. It kind of gets engulfed by that wind shear, kind of wind shears just kind of try to whip this storm apart. As you can see right over here, that system is kind of gone, and then you have that other system right over here moving through, and that's going to be dealing with some wind shear as well. But because see some brief tropical storm or low end hurricane. As the days go on, things can change, as you can see, but that wind shear is just way too strong, as you can see, right over in the Eastern Pacific, just north of these tropical disturbances. And as these tropical waves move northwest, it's just going to be as it moves northwest, the stronger the wind shear gets. So these tropical waves, tropical disturbances, and National Hurricane Center is watching. That wind shear is going to be very, very, very strong as it moves northwest. Get even stronger, as you can see right over here. Now, let's look at the ocean temps. The ocean temps right around here. You can see that high pressure system in the center of the Atlantic. See, the ocean temps are very, very warm in the main development region, as you can see right here. They are very above average, a couple degrees above average. I can see right over here, the main development region where those tropical waves are moving are dealing with some very, very warm ocean temps, maybe 80 to 83 degrees right over here. But the Eastern Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico are dealing with some even warmer ocean temps. 84 degrees, 85 degrees in the Western Caribbean, right over here in the Gulf of Mexico, dealing with some very, very warm ocean temps also 80 to 85 degrees over here, so way above average for June. But the Eastern Pacific is dealing with some even warmer ocean temps right around here, maybe 82 to 86 degrees right in the Eastern Pacific right over here. That's why I could see some development within the Eastern Pacific. One, the wind shear is very, very low where those two disturbances the National Hurricane Center is watching, and there's not a lot of dry air in the Eastern Pacific as of right in the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean, dealing with some dry air right now. But those ocean temperatures are above average, and I'll show you guys that right now. You can see where that dust is right over here, dealing with some very, very warm, above average ocean temps, maybe 2 to 3 degrees above average right now. And the Atlantic right around here, the eastern coast of the United States dealing with some cooler ocean temps, as you can see right here. Bermuda is dealing with some cooler ocean temps, 1 to 2 degrees below average, as you can see right over here. But most of the Atlantic, the Caribbean, and Gulf of Mexico is dealing with above average ocean temps for June, way above average. Eastern Pacific dealing with some very, very above average ocean temps, as you can see right over here. As you look right over here, 26 degrees Celsius or higher, that's about 80 degrees or higher. That's where development can actually increase, as you can see right over here. But those ocean temps are right in the Caribbean, dealing with some very, very warm ocean temps, 29 to 31 degrees Celsius. That's very, very warm as of right now. You can see right over here in the East Pacific dealing with some very, very warm ocean temps, skyrocketing warm ocean temps right over here. Due to that El Nino, it's just all because of that El Nino. The El Nino is bringing some warm ocean temps to the Eastern Pacific, but strong wind shear throughout the Gulf of Mexico, Western Caribbean, and the Atlantic. That's going to keep any system that does develop at bay, and it's going to rip those apart, as you can see right over here. But as of right now, we're dealing with some very, very warm ocean temps throughout the main development region, the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Caribbean, right over here in the Eastern Pacific, as you can see right over here. If you look over here, the Eastern Pacific is dealing with some very, very warm ocean temps right over here, especially where those disturbances are right around here, dealing with some 28 to 29 degrees Celsius ocean temps, where those two disturbances the National Hurricane Center is watching. So the ocean temps are very, very warm. We don't have nothing is wrong with the ocean temps. They're very, very warm. There is something wrong with them. They shouldn't be this warm in June. They should be a couple degrees cooler. But yeah, that El Nino is just going to play a good effect this year. The El Nino is going to bring. I feel like the El Nino is going to bring uh more more developments within the Eastern Pacific and less developments within the Atlantic, Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean. That is because that wind shear is just going to be ripping those storms apart. It's going to be a lot of wind shear in the Gulf of Mexico, Western Caribbean, and the Atlantic right over here. Less wind shear in the Eastern Pacific, but warmer ocean temps. So I will probably think that there's going to be some more developments within the Eastern Pacific. If there is, I'll keep you guys updated. And if there isn't, I'll still keep you guys updated. And that's about it as of uh, June 13th, 2023. You see right over here, the only area we are watching for the next 7 days is these two disturbances right over here. And as I just showed you guys, the environment right now is favorable, but as they move northwest, it's going to encounter that wind shear and it's going to rip these systems apart. So we could see a brief tropical depression, tropical storm, as you can see right over here. If this does, we will be see tropical storm Adrian. That's our first name for this year for the Eastern Pacific 2023 Atlantic Eastern Pacific hurricane season. We could see it. The first name is Tropical Storm Adrian. We have not had a first tropical storm yet in the Eastern Pacific, but I am looking forward to one. And if you guys like my video and you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. This is For Cyclone here, and I thank you all for watching my video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.